The Lagos State government has announced a ban on the use and distribution of styrofoam and other single-use plastics in the state with immediate effect. This was announced by the Commissioner for the Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, in a statement signed by him. According to Mr. Wahab, the decision was reached following the menace which the single-use plastics, especially the non-biodegradable ones, styrofoam, was causing on the environment. The Commissioner also mentioned that the state government cannot fold its hands and watch the continued desecration of its environment, especially for a coastal city. All right. General Manager of Loma, Muyiwa Gbadegesin, joins me on the news for updates on this. Good to have you join us.
Good afternoon, and thanks for having me.
Good afternoon. The very first thing I think a lot of people want to know if there was any assessment done or research done into the scale of use of this this single-use plastics, and then the damage it was causing in Lagos.
Well, yes, we've been doing assessments over the years. As you know, the issue of single-use plastic is not a new one. At the national level, Nigeria is a signatory to the Basel Convention that spells out some guidelines on what we're supposed to do with managing single-use plastic and preventing these plastics from ending up into the ocean and into the waste streams where they have lots of toxic effects. In Lagos in particular, one of the biggest effects is that the improper disposal of styrofoam packs and other single-use plastics into our drainage channels has resulted in flooding that directly affects millions of Lagosians every rainy season. And the state spends huge amounts of money clearing these styrofoam packs from the drains, as you can see from the trending videos of the annual effect of flooding. So yes, we've done this assessment and we've decided that we can no longer, we have to balance the economic interests of a few producers against the health and safety of all Lagosians.
And some are wondering why a deadline wasn't given, especially for the manufacturers and the distributors of these products. When you have bought it or you have manufactured it, almost immediately you're running at a loss.
Well, there has been several legislations and regulations at the national level regarding single-use plastics. It's not a new thing. We have extended producer responsibility guidelines by the National Environmental Standards Regulation and Enforcement Agency that spells out what producers of single-use plastics are supposed to do. They're supposed to take responsibility for ensuring that their products do not end up in the waste stream. And many of them have not been doing this. And so you have what you call the voluntary compliance, and then you have the regulatory compliance. So in terms of regulatory compliance, that's what the Lagos State government is now doing. We need to regulate this. We can't wait any longer. And in the process of pronouncing the ban, there will still be opportunities for stakeholder engagement. We'll be meeting with the producers and the manufacturers in the days and weeks ahead to ensure that they comply. As we also roll out various enforcement mechanisms.
I was going to ask you about that in terms of the enforcement mechanism, because we know that there are lots of regulations in place in different sectors, not just in Lagos, but across the country, where we do not necessarily see a high level of compliance. So in terms of that enforcement mechanisms, what are you looking to do in that regard?
Well, we'll begin seizing styrofoam packs anywhere we see them, including the vehicles transporting them. We're going to visit the producers, the factories and the warehouses, and give them notice of compliance. We're going to give them notices, and if they don't comply, we're liable to steal those facilities. In addition, we will be fining the producers and the manufacturers because, like I mentioned earlier, we're using taxpayer funds to clean up their products from the waste stream. And if they can't, they insist on continuing to produce and distribute these items, and we'll make them pay for the cleanup.
And we're following these developments and how both the manufacturers and distributors, as well as retailers, will respond to this directive. Thank you so much for talking to us, General Manager of Loma, Muyiwa Gbadegesin.
Thanks for having me.
Well, back to Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, where the Minister of Solid Mineral Development, Dele Alake, has arrived Ibadan to assess